Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we are going to learn how to make this oversized sweater very easy. I have made this video before, but the voice was not the best and it was quite long, so I tried to edit and make it better. So this sweater is so beautiful. So I'm using this yarn. I have used 6 of them. It's 100 gram and 350 yards, and I am using 2 crochet hooks. One is 5.5 millimeter and the other one is 4 millimeters. So just to a quick run. I am going to be making this sweater in 2 parts. The front part is going to be 2 parts, made of 2 parts. We're going to be increasing in the first 8 rows, and then we're going to do the same amount of stitches, and then we are going to make the other half from the front. It's the exact same pattern. We are going vertical lines. I will try to explain more while I am working. I'm starting with 70 stitches for a size medium to large, using my 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So make a slip knot and starting with 74 chains. So here are 74 chains. I'm going to skip the first 3 stitches and insert my hook into the stitch number 4, making a double crochet, my first double crochet. The first 3 stitches here are I'm going to be counting them like my first double crochet, and we are going to make double crochet into each stitch until the end of the row. So here is my first row. 71 double crochet stitch. We ended up with 71 double stitch, and now we are going to flip our work, chain 3 to make our second row. Here we are going to try to increase, so I'm going to make 2 double crochet into the first stitch, 1, and this is number 2, and we're going to make a double crochet into each stitch until the end of the row. Here I am at the end of the row. I'm going to make 1 double crochet in the last stitch. Here we are not increasing, it's the bottom of the sweater, so no increasing here. And to start the row number 3, we are going to chain 3, then flip our work, and I'm going to be putting a double crochet into each stitch, no increasing on this side. We're going to increase in the front. Here I am at the front, and I am going in, this is the last stitch, I'm going to be putting 3 double crochet stitches into that stitch. So 1, 2 into the same stitch, and 3. You can see now the increase. This is going the neckline, This is going to be the neckline, and now to start on row number 4 we're going to flip our work, chain 3, and we are going also to be putting 3 double stitches into the first stitch. So this is the first stitch. We're going to be putting 3 double stitches, 1, 2 and 3, and we are going to be putting 1 double crochet into each stitch of the row. You can see the neckline is being formed, and we're going to be doing the same exact thing until we reach into row number 8. So here I am at row number 8. We are going to stop increasing from here. That's the bottom and that's the neckline. We increased until row number 8. So no more increasing now, no more increase, and we are going to be putting 1 stitch, 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch. I made 28 row. Here are my first front panel. I made 29 rows. And now to start on the other side from the front panel, we are going to do the exact same thing, increasing until row number 8, and then doing the same thing, not increasing. I am going to be stitching the other side into the first side, chaining 3, now I'm placing my hook into the first stitch that we have ever made, placing 1 double crochet into each stitch of the row, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we have done in the first side of the front panel. We're going to increase until row number 8, then making 20 more rows of the same length. Here is my first front panel, my front panel. We are going to make a ridge that is going to make the sweater a little heavy and drop it to the end, and give it the weight we want. So here I am at the bottom, and now we are going to use the small crochet hook number 4, the 4mm crochet hook. We're going to chain 1 and place 1 single crochet into each stitch. Now the stitches here are not very obvious to see, but it's for giving you kind of eyeball it. We're going to be continuing that until the end of the row. Here I am at the end of the row, placing 1 single crochet into each stitch. And now to start making the ridge, we're going to make a chain of 15 stitches. I made 21 stitch, but you can do the length you want. So to start making the second row of that ridge, I made 21 stitch, and now we are going to place our hook into stitch number 20, the second stitch from the hook. We're going to be placing it and making one single crochet into each stitch, which is going to make us end with 20 single crochet. Here I'm at the very last single crochet stitch, and now we want to make the ridge connect with the bottom of the sweater, so we're going to make a slip stitch. We're going to make 2 slip stitches, one to connect the row we just made to the sweater, and the second one is going to be the base to the new row we are making. So placing 2 slip stitches. Now we're going to flip our work. I really recommend you count while you're stitching. Skip those 2 slip stitches we have just made, placing our hook into the first single crochet stitch, making a single crochet stitch, but we are placing our hook into the back loop of the stitch, not into the stitch itself. We're going to be placing into the back of the stitch. We should end up with 20 single crochet stitches. And to start the next row, we are going to chain 1, flip our work, and place 1 single crochet into each stitch, which makes us end up with 20 single crochet into each row. Now I'm at the end of my row, and I'm going to show you one more time how to do a 2 slip stitches to connect the ridge with the sweater, with the bottom of the sweater. Here I am at the very last row and doing a slip stitch and fastening our work, finishing our work. So that's the front of the sweater, and now we are going to be making the back. So the back is going to be just this just this rectangular piece, this vertical lines, no neckline here, and we're going to make 85 rows, the same number of rows that you have done for the front, but I'm making the back a little bit longer, so I am making 93 chains. I'm starting with 93 chains. I'm going to be making, which is making us end with 90 double stitches at each row. We are back with our crochet hook, 5.5 millimeter, and we're just doing vertical lines. That's it. Skip the first 3 and put your crochet hook into the chain number 4 and place 1 double crochet stitch into each chain. Making 58 rows. Here the back is finished. I have done 58 rows and have done the ridge. Making the sleeves. with a crochet 5.5 millimeter hook. You can also use 6 or just 5, depends. And I am making 50 chain. Doing just what we have done in the front and the back. Skip the first 3 stitches and place one double crochet stitch into each chain. Number 4, this is number 4. Until the end of the row. I made, now to make the ridge for the sleeve, I made 42 rows, and to make the ridge it's quite a little bit different from the ridge we made in the back and in the front, because here I want to make it a little bit tight on my arm. So using the crochet hook number 4, we are going to be placing one single crochet. We're going to be making each 2 single stitches into one. So 1. Now we're going to be placing the hook into the second chain, and now pull our hook from the 3 at once. So placing a half double crochet, making the sleeve a little bit tighter. So that's my point. My English is not very good, but I'm trying to explain as much as I can. Just going now to be making the ridge the same way we have done. Making 15 chains this time, which is going to make us end up with 14 single crochet. We're doing the exact same things that we have done in the front and in the back panel. Making 2 slip stitches to connect. Skip those 2 slip stitches. We're going to continue like this until the end of the sleeve, making 2 sleeves. Now I have my 4 pieces together, 2 sleeves, the front and the back, and we are going to be connecting them together by stitching them. So placing the front panel with the back panel, trying to make each row in front of the same row, so the first row with the first row, the second row with the second row, and so on. I made 2 marks here with a different color of yarn, but you can make it with those colorful pins. At the chain number 10, where our neck is going to be, we're not going to be chaining that. I ran out of the blue yarn, so I'm tried to make it with white yarn. It's also good for the camera, but it wasn't so good with the work, so I waited actually and got the blue yarn. But anyway, to stitch them together I'm using the small hook, trying to make sure the first row is going with the first row and so on. Making slip stitches along the way. Slip stitches along the way. Until you reach to the mark you have just made. Here I switch it back to the blue yarn because the white was so obvious, it was not the best. Finish your work. And I'm going to stitch the other side. Now that I have stitched both sides together, I'm going to spread the sweater and make the sleeve here and here. Put the sleeve in the middle, make a mark in the middle of the sleeve, and that mark or that pin stitched with the middle of the sweater. I'm just going to show you in front of the camera because my English is really not helping me. Here, just like that. Just make sure it's in the middle of the sleeve and in the middle of the sweater. And we're just going to stitch this together, trying to be making the stitches next to each other, even though one is horizontal and one is vertical. But it's going to be working very well, don't you worry. Now we're just going to be stitching the sleeves together and the rest of the sweater together. I made a mark here in the bottom because I'm not going to stitch until the end of the bottom, but you can do whatever you like. I also made the back a little bit longer, if you remember. So starting to stitch. So here I finished with the sleeve, and I'm going to be working until the end of the sweater, until the mark that I have put. Now that I have stitched everything, we're going to flip the sweater. I'm going to be cleaning this neckline by placing one single crochet along the neckline using my 4mm crochet hook to make it look a little bit nicer and more put together. Placing one single crochet into each stitch along the neckline. At the end, and just finish your work. Now I'm going to just clean all these threads sticking out, and yes, that's pretty much it. It's very easy to make. and very easy to be for beginners, because it's easy to make the measurement, because you can wear it while you're making it, so it makes you know what size you want. You can increase the rows or just decrease the rows, make it fit or make it oversize, just whatever you want. So I hope you liked this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.